Hey everyone, this is Electra. Thanks for watching. I wanted to talk about a few things. I don't know which one I should focus on, but still having a rough time. August is not going well for me at all. Uh, it's like I already know winter's coming. It's just I can tell the light has changed. We're getting close to fall, and I feel like the problem with having depression and anxiety is you have to worry, am I going to make it through another winter just so I can see another summer? uh, and I don't know, last winter was miserable for me. November, December were the worst. It's usually awful for me until the solstice, and then after the winter solstice, December 21st or so, it things get a lot better for me quickly. I can tell the days are getting longer by early January, mid January. I can already tell the days are getting longer, the sun's getting brighter, and but now in the summer, I can already feel the days are getting shorter, and the sun is not as strong. It's lower in the southern sky. Days are yeah. Already feels like summer's ending, which I don't even like summer anymore. Like I said yesterday, I hate summer even more and more the older I get. I think the only reasons people like summer is because they associate it with not going to school as a kid. But once you're an adult, I don't see any advantage to summer other than the fact it does not snow. If you live somewhere where it doesn't snow anyway, um, I don't see the benefit to summer at all. Um, that said, I also don't like winter. And here I am thinking of moving out of St. Louis to go to like the Chicago area or Rockford or even like the Madison, Wisconsin area. St. Louis winter is bad enough, and I am actually considering moving further north. Yeah, so makes sense in July. It makes sense in July. You're like, yeah, why don't I just move to northern Illinois or Wisconsin where it's only like in the 80s in the daytime? Um, but I mean, winter is winter, kind of, no matter where you live. It's just a matter of if it rains or snows. There's really no perfect winter anywhere. Mm, so yeah, I'm already dreading winter. I'm already feeling more depressed. I'm already feeling more anxious. I'm already feeling like I have no idea what I'm doing in life. I applied for like 10 or 15 jobs today that actually weren't bad. A lot of them had to do with like games and board games. Um, yeah, like one of them was like for tutoring some sort of board game. Like I'm not exactly sure how this is a viable business model, but if I can tutor like history students in high school or middle school or whatever age, then I think that'd be awesome. If I can like share these the types of games I like to play the most, like historical, political, even war games, I think that would be great because, and this actually solves my problem of what to talk about. Here we go. I'm segueing into it really nicely. So I think anyone that is on the political left, whether it's far left, communist, or just like moderate Democrat, um, I think games are a perfect way to develop how to think in this crisis. I've been playing strategic, historical, political type games, war games, both strategic and tactical level. If you don't know what that means, strategic war games are more of like the far out, zoomed out view. So, like if you're playing a strategic level game about the Civil War, you're gonna see like, okay, like here's like Pennsylvania, here's DC. It's gonna show the whole like eastern seaboard basically, and your job, depending on what side you're playing, is to basically prosecute the war on a strategic level. So you're moving armies around, fighting battles as you see fit. On a tactical level, you are playing an actual just all you see, it's just a battle. You see like the lines of soldiers, you see the artillery, you see your generals, you move them around as the rules allow. And I think this type of thinking is so it's important now, and it's going to be so important, I think, going into the future, because we have really no idea what we're in for. Another creator that I watch a lot of is talking about how some people are like really harping on like the fear aspect of this is awful, this is the end, we're screwed, we're cooked, whatever you want to say, and I'm like most things in life, there's no extreme is going to be correct. The truth is somewhere in the middle. So is there some good level of fear? Yeah, I would say there's a good level of fear. Actually, I remember my therapist talking about this back when I had one, when I still had insurance. And actually, it's my psychiatrist, because like I remember saying something like I wanted to up my antidepressants because I wasn't feeling as good. And she said, well, are you just not feeling good because of your job situation? Which I was in a toxic job at the time. So of course I wasn't happy about that. Or she was, or did she, and so basically like she wanted to establish, is this a short-term stressor or something just like more permanent? And she made the point that the ideal life is not to have zero fear. There is an amount of fear in life that is necessary. Otherwise, we wouldn't do much. Why would we do anything if we had zero fear of, well, I guess we could do a lot of things if you had zero fear of consequences, so like, again, there's two ways to look at everything. But if I had no fear of like, anyway, I don't know. It makes sense the way she said it. That's not the subject of this video, but I think there is a healthy level of fear in life and in political activity or resistance, if you want to call it that. I don't think it's really resistance anymore. I think it's a cold civil war that we are fighting, and I don't think most of the left is understanding or just doesn't want to believe that that's where we are. But we will. They will. We will. I consider myself to be on the left. Sorry, autistic pause there. Just trying to gather my thoughts. Yeah, so I remember bringing this book up back in the winter when I first started this channel, and this was like pretty soon, like end of January, when like things were really going badly, and we just were like, what the hell's going on? How can we go through another 4 years of this? And I know we're still doing that to an extent, but I also think so much of this has been normalized. I think the powers that be, the elites, know exactly how much fear they can put over us and not cook us and kill us. Like if we're frogs in boiling water, they know exactly where to boil it. They know the perfect temperature to get us at, where we're not gonna die, but yet we're not gonna like jump the pot and like do an escape, in other words. And so far, I think that's really kind of what's happening. I don't think people are quite scared enough yet. I mean, we seemed like we were scared enough in January, February, but then they saw what they were doing. And if they kept at that pace, that like indefinitely, we probably would have had a very, very disordered summer, to say the least. But anyway, I talked about this book on war, Karl von Clausewitz, and yes, it's very old, but yes, it's still very current, because it is part philosophy, part military tactics, strategy. Yes, war has changed a lot than when this was written in the 1820s, or it was pretty much after the Napoleonic Wars. And so I started playing these games early 2010s. The first the first war game I bought was about the Civil War, and it was this old game from 1983. I bought it used, but it had never been opened, and I that's really when I got into everything like this: history, politics, warfare, and exerting your will through these things. And um, I think the left needs to learn these. And I'm not saying I'm like the expert at all of this. And there's a difference between playing board games and in real life. I understand that too. But um, I think you're better off with this knowledge than with nothing at all, which is which is like what living on social media does for us. It keeps us in this state of inaction. Um, we think we're doing so much. We think we're expanding our minds and learning things, but it's like at some point, I think we have to understand we know enough. Like in a way, I don't even want to recommend a book because honestly, if you haven't read a book, if you haven't read On War by now, like you're a little late to the party. You probably should have read it. I wish I read it 5, 10 years ago. I read it like maybe a year ago, and I'm still only not even halfway into it. So, will I read the whole thing? I don't know. But I will say, playing these types of strategic historical games, along with reading Clausewitz and other types of books, in that check out that earlier video. If I want to look into how I can link that from the video, I will. If not, it's one of my earlier videos, probably in February. I talk about Clausewitz and a few other books about like military tactics and strategy. Keep in mind, I've never been in the military. All this was new to me at 1.2. I knew very little about any kind of military action or anything about that world. It wasn't the world I was raised in. It wasn't the circles of society I was brought up in. I didn't know anyone in the military at all. I had a very privileged upbringing, which is another video I do want to do soon. I don't think I'm going to do it in this one because I think that deserves its own video, but I had a very privileged upbringing, and I have a complicated relationship with that fact, and things I think I would like to get off my chest and be vulnerable, but that won't be on this one, but maybe the next one. So anyway, in summary, if you're on the left and you want to try to start taking action, we got to take some kind of action. I don't know how that's going to start, but I know it's not going to start by being perpetually online. And here I am making content for people to watch, and I feel like I'm part of the problem because at what point do we say we know enough and we have to proceed? We have to take action. I don't know either. I think we're all just like feeling our way through this thing. And I try to picture like what would my grandparents' generation think about right now. They were born in the 19 teens and 20s, and if they would see us all just like hanging out on our recliners, our lazy boys, our couches, staring at our phones or our iPads or our laptops for hours, they would tell us, they would be like, why aren't you doing anything? Why are you just sitting there? And of course, we don't feel like we feel like we're learning and growing, and we're sitting there. We're just like looking at these screens. We were sold these screens. We were told these screens would make our lives better, and we're just caught in this instead of a hall of mirrors, it's a hall of screens that makes us feel like we're living when we're not at all. And we're so paralyzed that we can't even react to stimuli that is like not normal. We can't accept it as normal. It's like we love debating this this regime so much that we almost don't want it to end, because then what would we debate about? What would we argue about? I think most of us do want it to end, but it's also easy to fall into this toxic pattern of perpetually beating a dead horse. And I'm as guilty of that as anyone else. So at some point we got to take action. I don't know what's going to start that. No one. We're in this big prisoner's dilemma. We don't know. We don't want to. We don't want to be the first one to act because we don't want to be like killed in vain. We don't want to die in vain if that somehow happens. But someone always has to be the first one to risk their lives. That's the bottom line. And did John Brown know that when he died, he basically was like one of the major points of like where the Civil War was only a couple years away? Did he know that? When he died, he didn't know. I mean, of course he didn't know, unless you believe in like spirits and being able to just see things from beyond. That's another video as well. But when he died, he had no idea what was going to happen after that. He might not have ever imagined. I mean, he did say, I remember his quote when he was hung, that the sins of this country will only be purged by blood. So he definitely expected something like that, but he didn't live to see it. He never did. He'll never will. I mean, and then if he's reincarnated, he's somebody else. He doesn't have any memories of that, and he knows that, and that's it. I mean, he knows it. It's a fact, but it's not something he remembers living through in the previous life. Anyway, okay, getting off track, and it's also past 15 minutes, a little over, so I'm gonna call it here. And I know this was like kind of a random video. Didn't really have a point other than games are fun, they're educational, and if you play the right games, I think they could be very helpful in this world right now and what's to come. Thank you for watching, and please like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please support me by buying a cup of coffee or matcha, probably in my case. Take care. Have a good night. Bye-bye. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.